started out at a tomato farm in Arkansas. So that's where I learned the work ethic, and that's what I believe in. So I'll open it up for, I believe you have a system for people to ask me questions, I believe, Lisa?
So everyone, if you want, you could take your phone off of mute. But we also have a chat box, which I'm sure everybody's pretty familiar with at this point with all the Zooms we do. Anybody want to speak up? I'll put myself on mute because I don't have anything at the moment.
I've asked Anna to help with fielding the questions on here, just so that everyone's not speaking over each other. So if you can keep yourself on mute when you're not talking, just so that we're not talking over each other. We'll rotate through anybody who has questions. Feel free to use the chat box as well, and we'll open the floor up. Michelle, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, of course. Hello. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Donna, as an MIT, I did get to hear you speak just recently, and you completely moved me and you inspire me so much. And just curious to know what you could recommend to me being an MIT currently and in a future operations manager role, what you could give me to take away from such an experience.
Well, first of all, I want to say, I know you're looking at the operations side, and I commend you for that. I started my career in operations. I spent 10 years in not distribution operations, but the manufacturing side. I was on the factory area, and I highly recommend it. And I can tell you that of all my jobs, I still rely on that one as much as any other because of the people that I worked with on a daily basis. And it was a different group. As a matter of fact, I started to bring this up earlier, but when I was in that role at that chainsaw factory, where a lot of things were going on, I actually had everybody wear T-shirts at one point, and it said, "That's not my job," and it had a red X on top of it, like you would a no smoking sign. And I made them wear that because we were trying to bring things together. And it was a very divided factory, and we had to bring it together. So that was just one of the things I did. But I would tell you that you need to work hard. You have the opportunity as an MIT to have some real training. I've already told you in my first session with you to learn everything that you can, because you have an unbelievable opportunity to learn. You're going to learn things that will truly apply to your job in the future. And then when you get out there, take the job that comes at you. Don't be afraid to relocate. Do the best you can at that job. You'll be the one that's called next to go to the next job. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm thrilled to see some females in our MIT training, but I can tell you when your review comes up, I'll be harder on you than I am the guys, because that's just what it is.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll be ready.
Okay.
I think the best way is to use the chat box if you have a question, and then I'll call you out.
Great.
So as you have questions, just kind of raise your hand through the chat box, and I'll kind of point you right to your turn there. But Donna, I'd like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Sometimes as a woman in this business, we find ourselves having to prove ourselves a little more than maybe our male counterparts in some situations. And sometimes that's a bitter pill to swallow, that, you have to work harder just because you're a female, but it's just the reality of things. Is that something that you see or experience on a regular basis, that people look at you maybe like you might not be as qualified, or you might not know as much just because you are a woman in a male-dominated field?
I don't disagree with you, Lisa. However, I will tell you this. It's a whole lot easier now than it was 25 years ago to be female, because there were roles that I was never going to have the opportunity to have. That glass ceiling was very real, that I knew. After 4 bosses at that one factory, all of them male, I was never going to get the opportunity to do that. And it was made very clear to me that I wasn't, because I was female. So I think it's easier now, but I think if you go around with a chip on your shoulder that I need the job because I'm female, that's not going to, it might get you a job at some point, but it won't keep you there.
Yeah,
So
no, that would never be anything I would be interested in.
no, I'm being honest though, right? I'm saying to you that that's the attitude is I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the best job that anyone else can do, male or female. But I do feel your pain, and I certainly have felt your pain. And again, I'm here to help, but I'm also here to tell you, you have to do the best job possible. The rewards will come. I'm sorry, Lisa, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself by mistake. I said, thank you very much for that. I appreciate your thoughts and input on that. Kim, you had a question?
Yeah, hi. My question kind of goes along with Lisa's, but I'm in a different field because I'm in the service end.
Oh,
So I go into people's backyards and a lot. There's men there and they're like, you're gonna fix my pool. And, my boss has, the utmost confidence and support for me, but you go into these yards and it's just so frustrating because now I have to prove myself to these people all the time. So,
Okay.
I don't know. And I've been doing it for 20 years. So it hasn't really gotten better on my end.
wow. So I'm guessing they're wondering when your husband is going to show up to get the job done for them, right? So.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just kidding. I'm just saying that, you know what, that is, I have not had to deal with that particular thing, but I can say this, Kim, I am sure you do the best job in the world of cleaning those pools. And I'm pretty sure if they're happy with the job you do, they're looking forward to you coming back the next time to get it done. Right?
Well, yeah, that's
do
the
the
thing. Sometimes I'll go and I'll fix a heater and they're like, wow, you really fixed it. I'm like, well, yeah, that's my job.
I wish I could see you right now. You're on an iPhone, Kim. I would really love to see you right now and meet you. Well, hats off to you. I don't know how to tell you to fix the perception, but I think if you keep proving yourself, then you're going to start being the one they call and they'll ask for you instead of some of the guys.
It's just very frustrating to have to continually prove myself.
I think we all kind of feel that pain because that's where I started, was on the service side. And I remember showing up to winterize a pool for somebody and their first answer was, they go over my temp labor help and said to him, I started asking him questions. He's like, I don't even know the difference between the pump and the filter. But
Oh
he
yeah,
didn't
that's
even
the
look at me
worst.
because I'm a girl. So I had nothing
the
to
worst.
offer.
I have customers that refuse to talk to me and they'll only talk to my helper.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm with you.
We have a long way to go, Kim. That's why we're all going to stick together.
Patty wants to say something to Kim.
Okay.
Hi, Kim. I came from the automotive field before the pool industry, and customers would call there and they would, start asking me for one of the guys. I would give them to the guy who knew the least. Then that guy would transfer him back to me. And I'm like, okay, now what can I do to help you? It took a while, but you really have to take pride in your work. That's all. As long as you are happy and you have pride in your work, it'll portray to your customers.
That's a
It
great.
really will.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hey.
Kim, for your question.
Donna, Lisa, it's Chris. I just want to touch on, something that you all have already said. So one, I'm sorry that you've had to deal with all the bias for all these years, being in especially our industry, male dominated. But, Donna mentioned the word integrity. Patty, I think you just, you mentioned it, persevere. If you show up to work with, a goal in mind. It was funny. Sam the other day posted something on LinkedIn. I'm putting you on the spot, Sam. Kathleen Mazzarella at Gray Bar. She started, right, Sam, and you can take the lead after I put my 2 cents in, but she started at this company by accident. And she worked her way up from, I believe it was just a customer service job, all the way up to now she's the CEO of the company. And I think, and you have all said it before, that if you continue to forget about the way maybe people are talking around, in the background, or they're shunning you, or, holding you back in, in certain situations, if you just continue to persevere and work hard, I really believe that the sky's the limit. And like you said, Patty, the customers come back to you because you have the knowledge. And I think that, everybody is just going to grow, and there's no position that's unattainable. So I don't know, Sam, if you want to touch on that, but Sam came to work with me many, many years ago. And to say that loading trucks and working at 5 a.m. and doing everything that, anyone, especially in a male dominated industry, warehouse work, it doesn't matter what the job was. Sam offered to do it. She did it. And at the end of the day, respect came without second. I mean, it was just, everybody gravitated because they saw how hard she was working, and she's continued to grow in the industry, which, again, is hopefully less male dominated down the road.
Hey,
Thanks,
Sam.
buddy.
Yeah, hey, no problem. Why don't you touch on that? Let's go.
No, I'm here. I also love Donna's career and how hard she's worked, and I love that we have this woman in our company. Chris and I talk all the time, and I'm constantly venting about, why do I always feel like I have to work twice as hard as my counterparts? And sometimes it's in your head, and sometimes it's reality. There are people like Chris that I work with that don't see the gender. Obviously, yes, I'm a female, but there are people that don't see it, and there are people that do see it, and you have to align yourself with the positive forces and the people that can encourage you to do what you do day in and day out, and you have to put those other people out of your mind and just prove them wrong. I mean, it's never going to go away. And while I'm super grateful to be in this business at this time and not 25 years ago, I do hope that 20 years from now, it's better for my daughter. She's 1. I hope that she gets into some kind of male dominated business, because I do think it's a lot of fun in that regard. I mean, we're all a different breed on this call. I see comments here like power to the woman that changes the heater board. We're different people. We're not those people that are going to go out and get a job in the fashion industry or some female dominated business. It's just reality. It goes with the territory. That's why calls like this are so important. Groups like this are so important, because those struggles are never going to go away. And we just have to align ourselves with the right people that are going to help us get through the bad days and push forward and do what we do. And to second what Donna said, I've been very active in voicing my wanting to have a network group within Pool Corp for this reason. Pardon the screaming child, she's going to bed soon. I also don't ever want a job because of my gender. My husband's company is doing a lot for diversity, and in saying that we have to meet quotas. And my biggest statement that I say all the time to my managers, I think Jeff Conway's on this call, is we have to put the right ass in the right seat on the bus. If you're the right butt, then I want you on my bus. If you're not the right butt, I don't care if you're male, female, black, white, purple, green, whatever. I don't want you on my bus if you're not the right person. And we have to just keep that message strong and stick together. And everybody on here, if you're on this call, it's because you want to be here and you want to progress and you want to succeed. So that's really what it comes down to.
Thank you, Sam. I believe the next person who had their hand up was Jeff Conway.
Yeah, so thank you. And first of all, I'll start by saying I have the utmost respect for every single female on this call and commend you all for what you do in an industry that is dominated by men. And so I commend you, and I love some of the comments that are being said and everything. And yes, Sam's quoting my, just so you know, Donna, I normally don't use curse words when I give direction and guidance, just as a corporate thing there, seats on the bus. Yeah, that is one of my phrases, but yes, I try to refrain from that in the company environment. So yeah, I really, commend this, and just reading some of the text chats here and everything like that. Obviously I can't relate to what you guys have, what you face and what you go through. But what I do want to do is, and I have 3, I believe, ladies that are part of my region that are on this call. I see Sam, Lisa, and Michelle is an MIT in my region right now. I believe that's all the ladies that are part of this thing. So Donna, my question is, number one, thank you for being part of this and taking part of this and supporting our market. We certainly appreciate that. But my question is as a male and as a male leader in this industry and in our organization, I try to make sure I do my part to allow the females that work for me the opportunity to succeed and get opportunities based on their merit and on their work. And Lisa's been promoted, Sam's been promoted. Michelle, I'm sure it's a matter of time when she gets through her training. But what can I do as a male boss in this industry and in this company even to help be cognizant of it, but be fair, but help facilitate the career development of females that are work within my region and within my area?
Thank you for the support, Jeff, and all that you do right now for the company. I would say, really, honestly, and the others, if you want to chime in, please feel free. But I would say, you know what? Don't treat us differently. We want the same opportunities. Like, for instance, you have a female MIT in your area. Sometimes people are hesitant of that just because there's so few of them that come along. So you're giving that person the opportunity to train and to learn. But also understand that we want to do the same. We want to do the same work. So that's really what you can do. Don't stand in our way, but help us get there. And you're doing a lot of that now, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And if anyone else wants to say that differently, please do so.
I think that was exceptionally well said.
I think Sam even said sometimes Jeff forgets that she's a girl. That's okay, Jeff.
I listen, I like she says, I treat everybody the same and judge people based on their merit and their work ethic. I don't care gender, race, doesn't matter. If you're the right person for the right opportunity, then you're the right person for the right opportunity without regard. So
Jeff, I will say though, working for you and working for Chris too, in the past, there are times we don't want to be treated different, and there are times we do have to be treated different. I went through pregnancy and maternity leave working for Jeff, and what I constantly say to him now is the emotional hormonal roller coaster that comes the entire year and a half after that I'm still riding now 16 months later. And it's just to have a leader that's a guy that can say, like, I have a wife who had 3 kids and went through this. It's okay to have your emotions, means more than you will ever understand.
Well said.
Rebecca Thompson is next.
Excuse me, if I can figure out how to get myself off of mute.
Hi, Rebecca.
I was going to say that Donna talked about integrity and work ethic. And being that I shared an apartment with Donna for a while, years ago, when I was at Pool Corp, the work ethic thing I can testify to. There would be nights when Donna's husband and I would be sitting there watching television, getting ready for bed, and Donna would come in from work. Now, I will also say, don't ask the woman to cook for you. because she burns everything. She can't boil water. At least she couldn't years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say that years ago, 21 years ago, when I got into the pool industry, I saw a lot of, well, you're the girl. But I am proud to say that I came from a company of where we had a sales force that was primarily women and the pool industry. And our sales force was primarily female. This was back in the day when the men wore suit and ties and we women wore dresses. And it was very, very challenging being new to the pool industry and going out, dressed like that to go look at a pool. But it was, I felt like I had an advantage because the company I came from did support women. I don't think they hired us because we were women. And the guy who hired me said he hired me because I had a sales experience, even though I didn't know anything about pools. He could teach me pools. He couldn't teach me sales. So we just got to keep trying. You'll find, I now do chemicals. I get people calling me now with questions about chemicals that, years ago I was calling people to find out the same answers. So keep going, prove yourself, and people will recognize that.
Rebecca did our virtual water chemistry class last month, and it was awesome.
Thank you,
Rebecca.
Up next, we have Amy Rullo.
Sorry, couldn't find my unmute button. So first off, I just want to say, Donna, thank you so much. It's wonderful to see you. So if for anybody that doesn't know me, Amy Rullo, I'm president of NESPA and vice president for Penn Jersey. I have a couple things, just comments basically. So 17 years ago, I entered this industry. Basically just because my family had been in it for 75 years and I was raising my son. I left the corporate world in construction and maintenance for a grocery store chain called Safeway, and decided I wanted to do something easier. I was not that bright apparently, because this is not much easier, number one. But I worked for a family member, my uncle actually, for about 9 years. And in that 9 years, was probably one of the most insulting 9 years of my life, because he consistently reminded me that women answer phones in the pool industry and do work orders and bill. So shortly after my two boys got a little bit older and I didn't need to be at home with my children, as often, didn't need a part-time job, I moved on to a corporation, a local corporation, and started to run a retail and pool service division for them. And by the way, that's where I met Lisa, which gave me a whole new perspective on being a woman and being in a management role where you were respected for everything that you did, and given the chance to shine, given the chance to make mistakes, not being criticized, but also ran a very male dominated service division and had quite a few females that worked with us that we were a good team. So fast forward a little bit, I'll go a couple years further. I met Donna about 10 years ago at a retail summit for Pool Corp, and completely changed my aspect for my passion for the pool industry, because she inspired me, and she wonderful motivational speaker, and she spoke to me, and from then I was hooked. And I've learned so much through her through the years. I unfortunately only got to go to, I think, 4 or 5 retail summits, and always look forward. Like, that was the one place I always wanted to be. When Donna spoke, I had to listen, because she gave me the desire to always want to be better. So Donna, I thank you for that. And I guess the one thing I really want to say to everybody, just in my past 17 years of being in the pool industry, the past 6 have probably been the most amazing, because I've never let anybody treat me any differently than I should be treated. And I've shown up on job sites with a hard hat and, and anything I needed to do, and never acted like a girly girl. And Have I been treated like one? Yeah, absolutely. But it's amazing how far we've come. And there are some people that shy away from women in the industry because they feel that they've paid their dues. They've been in the industry for 20, 30 years, and they feel like this group of people that are trying to, all we're really trying to do is embed or better ourselves and join together and educate each other. But there are some people that don't like this movement or group, so to speak, because they feel like it's almost like a step backwards versus a step forward. So I think for me, the fact that we have quite a few men on this call and we have a phenomenal group of females on this call, I just want to thank everybody and commend you for taking time out tonight during your dinner time to just talk and find a path to move forward, because there are some amazing service women on here. There are people that sit behind the desk and do scheduling, and obviously pool court people that are sitting on here, chemical people. We've come a long way since I walked into this job by accident, so to speak, 17 years ago, as just a girl looking to answer the telephones, up to what I do now. So I hope I encourage everybody to just like Donna, just sky's the limit. There's nothing we can't do as long as we have the right people behind us. So that's that. I'm done.
Amy, thank you so much. And just real quick, I see the duck behind you. I have a couple of more for you. I haven't been able to see you in person to give them to you from COVID. But anyway, you inspire us all. Thank you for all the work you do for the industry.
Thank you.
Looks like we have Karen Larson next.
Right, yeah, that's me. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have a question and then a comment. So I think I ended up on this call sort of by accident. Is most everybody, well, I mean, not by accident. I was sort of notified and invited by someone who used to work for Pool Corp. And is most everyone on this call like from working at Pool Corp, or some kind of other than Amy from NESPA?
Oh, no, there's a lot of different people that are not with you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out if.
So this is a Penn Jersey, like women in the industry series thing, but everyone is welcome. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, no, that's great. Well, I'm excited. Thank you. Donna, that was great to hear your story and your history. So I'm actually one of Pool Corp's customers. I started a plunge pool company, a precast concrete plunge pool company in New Hampshire about 7 years ago. And so we are a customer. We buy out of your Andover branch typically.
Thank you for the business.
What's that?
I said, thank you for the business.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I love working with everybody there. Brandon Allen is our rep. You guys probably know him. But my perspective is like, I absolutely love working in a male dominated industry. And I just want to say, I think men are funny. There's no drama. I mean, it's like, for me, I think it's phenomenal. When I walked into this 7 years ago, I felt intimidated for a little bit. But I think for me, I absolutely love being a woman in a male dominated industry. And the sense of adventure, when I walk on a job site, and I've learned so much from the men, all these men that have been in the industry 30 years who might've looked at me funny on the first call. I learned so much when a problem comes up. They, rather than panicking, they typically would come at it with a sense of adventure or look at it as a puzzle with like a twinkle in their eye. And for me, I think it's phenomenal. I wouldn't want to work. I love women, don't get me wrong. I have tons of girlfriends. We go to, we take trips every year, but I would rather work in a male dominated industry than any other. So I just kind of wanted to offer my perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. So we do want to go around and do a quick introduction. So we'll start just from who I see on my screen. Some of you we've heard from already, but if you just want to say who you are, what you do, that would be great. Michelle, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Michelle A.
It's okay. It's Michelle Antonucci, and I do have two of my aunts here on the call. They've been very successful women in their industry, so I'm super happy to have them, as well as my best friend and his mother, who is the president of innovative medicines for Bristol Myers Squibb, which is just so blessed to have her here. She's such an idol for me. So would love to hear a word or two from her, Mary Beth. But I did start in the pool industry, I want to say 5 years ago now, and I'm only 26. I started out at Anthony and Sylvan Pools. I started out as inventory accounting specialist, moved up to accounts payable specialist, and then moved to renovation scheduling for the whole territory of Pennsylvania, which was amazing to say the least. I did work for a local pool service company for one season after that, and I had the opportunity to join Pool Corp, and I swear I will never leave it ever in my whole life. I'm so grateful to be here and so happy to see everyone as far as women and men, and I'm so blessed tonight, really.
Thank you. Sam, I know we heard a little bit about your background, but go for it. You're up next on my screen.
Yeah, so I am Sam Fulleron. I'm a zone manager in the Northeast. I work under Jeff Conway. I run Lakewood, New Jersey, and the Huntington Valley branch as of a few months ago. I started in retail when I was 12, which was 20 years ago now. Just actually working for a female-run service business. It was a woman who got divorced and her husband was not going to give her a check. So she said, then give me 40% of that business and watch what I do with it. And she's a rock star. So I worked for her for 9 years through college, actually interviewed with SCP, got rejected, went and worked for a competitor, which is how I ended up with Chris Rauschenbach, and then got acquired 5.5 years ago. I, Michelle, also have not looked back ever since. The opportunities at Pool Corp have been fantastic. I do love being in a man's world because I just, quite honestly, don't have that much girly girl in my system. Challenges be what they may, but I love it. I work with Lisa, which is great, and I hope to do a lot more with this group that's here now. And Donna, as always, I know we talk a couple times a year. Thank you for being part of this today.
Patty.
Hi.
There you go.
Okay. I'm Patty Gritz now. We just got married about a week ago. We own Gritz Pools and Spas. He's in the business since 1963. His father started it. When I came aboard probably 10 years ago, they didn't do advertising. The store was a mess. You know, I'm like, what are you doing here? Like I said, I came from an automotive field, mostly men, all men, actually. I was the only woman there, to here. And when I came, there was only one woman. Now there are 2, 3, counting me, there's 4. So we're growing and it's just been amazing. And I love this group. Love Sarah. Tracy, you're hiding, but you're in there somewhere. You'll hear from her. So that's about it.
Thanks, Patty. And congratulations again. We are so excited.
Thank you.
Dina.
Hi, I'm Dina Hasbrook, and I'm with Hasbrook Pool and Spa. My husband and I started this company about 11, I think it's 12 years now. And I do service. So I have my own pickup truck and I do my weekly routes. And this year I'm definitely doing a lot more than I have been, taking on more responsibility. So my husband can go off and do more consulting and things like that. So I'm running the service crew now myself, hoping to kind of get out of the field and get more into like the office stuff. But I don't really see that happening. I'll probably be out there scrubbing pools forever. And that's what I do. Oh, I'm working on my first plunge pool tomorrow. Karen said something about plunge pools. I've never seen one. This will be my first one, and we're going to redoing that tomorrow. So.
Nice. Thanks, Dina. Rebecca Thompson.
Hello. Excuse me. Every time I turn my mute off, every time I start to talk, I have to cough. I'm Rebecca Thompson. I'm with Earth Science Labs. I don't live in the Penn Jersey area, but I work in the Penn Jersey area. When I can travel, I get a lot of mileage on the airlines. Like I said earlier, I've been in the pool industry for 21 years, and I have primarily done chemicals during that time. I was at Pool Corp, was unable to relocate, so I left. Have the utmost respect for Donna, always have, except for the fact she can't cook. Sorry, Donna, got to get that one in. And you know, it's just, this is a great industry. It's a great industry to be in, and I absolutely love it. I do, like I said, I do chemicals, and I answer questions and spend a lot of time lately sitting in front of my computer. That's it.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hey guys, if we get to anybody, if anybody has any questions for Donna while we make these introductions, shout them out. Jeff Conway.
Yeah, I'm. My name's Jeff Conway. I am the regional manager for Pool Corp for the eastern half of Pennsylvania and South Central New Jersey. And I've been with the company for 18 years. I was MIT, did the MIT program, and have kind of moved up through the ranks to where I am now. And I'm really just here to support the ladies that are working within my region and all of the other ladies that work in the region that aren't on this call. So very excited to be here and learn. And become more educated as much as I can.
Thanks, Jeff. Your questions were really sweet too. Thank you. Chris Rauschenbosch.
Yes. Hey, so I was born into the industry like some of you. My family started a chemical repackaging company back in 1947. And then we got into the swimming pool industry by accident with some of the chemicals that we were selling. And then it led to equipment and other supplies. And, you know, I started in the warehouse and drove trucks, customer service, and did pretty much every position. And finally in 2008 or 2004, I took over running the company, and then we were acquired, blessed that we were acquired by Pool Corp in 2015. And it's already been over 5 years since I've been with the company. Super excited. Donna will probably tell you, I can still remember the first day I met Donna down at the the retail summit. I was a deer in headlights. You know, I had competed against SCP for years and never really, you know, understood, you know, I never really got to know a lot of the people like Donna behind the scenes that make Pool Corp run and make Pool Corp tick. And when I started to learn everything that goes into making SCP and Superior and NPT so successful, we've got an unbelievable management team. I started to really open up. You know, I came into Pool Corp thinking, hey, you know, I was running a company, you know, obviously a lot smaller than Pool Corp. Thought I knew everything. And very quickly, I understood that, hey, look, there's a lot to learn. And I've been able to develop over the last 5 years with the help of Donna and some of our other senior managers. So currently I'm running, managing, I'm a regional manager over the Metro New York area, Long Island, New Jersey, some of Connecticut, upstate New York, and I dabble in Pennsylvania, but anytime I go into Pennsylvania, Jeff kind of says, hey, stay out of my way. So I try not to go over the border, but I'm very, you know, blessed to work with Jeff and Sam and everyone else on the call. Andrea just joined us in Bound Brook. And, you know, I look forward to, if I haven't met you, I look forward to meeting everyone on this call. And thank you. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. Karen Larson.
Oh, hello. Well, my name is Karen Larson. I have a company called Soak Pools, and we make precast concrete plunge pools. So we were the first people in the United States to do that. And we sell mainly in the Northeast, but all over the country. And my husband and I, this is a female-owned company. And that's me, the owner. My husband and I own it together, and we're just having a blast. We love what we do. We love I'm not from the pool industry. I actually have a background in textiles and design, and I just feel very fortunate. But I appreciate being on this call because I do love hearing all the inspiring stories from all the successful women on this call, and I appreciate you. I appreciate being included.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Amy?
See what happens when you're trying to do too many things at once. So again, hi everybody, Amy Rouleau, Scott Payne Custom Pools, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Vice President of Service and Renovations, also President of NESPA and Vice President of Penn Jersey. I think I've already said enough, so I won't take up any time from anybody else, but most importantly, thank you everybody for being here. Look forward to in-persons. Just a real quick blip, if anybody didn't know, last week we did a live broadcast for the Atlantic City Pool and Spa Show experience. Unfortunately, we didn't have 12,000 people there. There was only about 20 of us. Dina Hasbrook's husband, Jeremy, was a part of it as well. We were able to bring some live teaching and then some online courses for everybody. So fingers crossed, next year we'll be able to see all your gorgeous and handsome faces in person in Atlantic City, and we'll be able to move forward. And I just want to say hands up to Pat Kaba, who's on this call, who helped run the education part of this. NESPA and the back office, the staff is amazing, and they really pulled off a great experience for everybody. So thank you everybody for being here, and have a great night.
Thanks, Amy.
Yep.
Tracy?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Bond. I'm the owner of Great Valley Pool Service. It's one of the larger pool service companies in the Pennsylvania area. I've been the owner for going on 7 years. Feels like I just started yesterday. So the time has really gone by fast. But being a female and a minority and coming from the outside to the pool industry, I've had my set of challenges in establishing my credibility. But, I've kind of persevered through it all and, garnered a lot of accolades for the company that we're running and the improvements that we're making in the company. I have a corporate background in finance, like Donna was talking about, the Ivy League education and Fortune 50 companies and doing all that good stuff for about 25 years, and then purchased the pool company about 7 years ago. So it's been a nice ride. I'm enjoying it and plan to stay in it for quite a while.
Thank you, Tracy. Pat Kava?
Yes, I'm just as stupid as everyone else. I go up to my name to unmute. Hi, I'm just sitting here observing and listening. As Amy alluded, I also work for NESPA. I'm the director of education. I fell into the pool business 20 years ago. So I guess I started when I was about 12. And I could spell pool. That was my background. But I came from a specialty chemical company and a software company, and I did a lot of MRP and logistics and distribution, education and training. I would go out to warehouses that did our warehousing and tell them, hi, I'm here from corporate. I'm here to help you. We know how well that goes over. And I also was on the road a lot. So I decided to take myself off the road. I went for this job interview and I could spell pool and I got the job. And I think, as with everyone here, pool chlorine is in your blood. It is your blood, right? We all kind of come together and make it work. But as the education director for NESPA and doing the programs for in-house as well as the pool and spa show, we had an education program for this year, unfortunately, which we had to kibosh, was on women in the industry, similar to what you have here. And I've gone to the programs that you have offered at Penn Jersey, and I really admire this group for putting them on. And I'm listening because we're looking for topics as well to discuss in a roundtable setting on some of the issues that we're all facing, whether it is being a woman in the industry or just being in the industry itself. And sometimes I find that women, I think it was, I forget who it was, but said they prefer working with men in the industry because there's less drama. I find that true as well, but we all need the support of each other only because of who we are and what we can bring to the table. And we see things from a different perspective. And I really hope to learn from your group, and I hope to see you at future programs, whether they're through Penn Jersey or other chapters, or at the show. So I hope that helps everybody. And I know it was a Pool Corp business staff meeting, and I appreciate that. I work with Pool Corp a lot, and I'm learning the names. Maybe some of you I have not worked with directly, but I do know who Pool Corp is, and thank you for supporting the industry.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Andrea?
Hey, my name is Andrea. Chris invited me tonight. Thank you for having me. I gotta say, after listening to what some of you have said, I already feel a lot better. I've been in the industry for a while now, believe it or not. I started as a lifeguard or gate guard, I should say, at 14 years old. Moved my way up with Sparkling Pools. It's a commercial company. I was a lifeguard, supervisor, regional manager when I graduated college, jumped over into residential. I was a service manager, a maintenance manager, and then a retail manager at a couple different retail companies. And I was just hired at Pool Corp a month ago. So I am super fresh, and I am welcoming all advice. I'm really excited to be here. And like I said, I'm really excited that Chris I got this last minute invitation. Hey, hop on this call. So I'm really glad I kind of switched transitions. I'm on the phone now, but glad I can be here. Really happy to listen to all your stories. I'm excited to work. And I believe in someone in the beginning of the call, they're a service, and they go in the field in the backyards, and they're dealing with the customers constantly. I had said in the chat, there were so many times where I would walk into a backyard and people were like, 5'2", 110 pounds soaking wet. You're going to do this? And it's all about showing your knowledge and staying up to date, and sharing your knowledge, and then showing what you can provide and providing good service. And when you do that, it goes beyond you're female, or you know what I'm trying to say. But thank you again for having me, and I look forward to a long-term relationship with the company.
Thank you. Nicole P. Perdonson.
Yeah, sorry. Nicolo or Nick is fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. So I don't work in the industry directly. I received an invitation from Michelle. I work in real estate and property services, but I think a lot of the things that were spoke about tonight can be applied across the board, and I thought they were very insightful. And I appreciate the invite, and I'd be happy to do it again. Funny enough, the office that I work at is actually a female dominated one. And I was raised by my mother. I have 3 sisters. So it's, somewhat of a survival instinct at this point. But, I really appreciate the insight, and I thought that was very helpful, everything that was said. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Nicole Ferroni.
Hi guys, I'm Nicole Ferroni. I work with Tracy Bond at Great Valley Pool Service. I've been working there since 2007, but prior to that, I came from a pool builder, small pool builder in Delaware County. So I had a lot of building experience as well as service and retail. Primarily right now, I do a lot of purchasing for the company. Just transitioned out of the retail portion, which I'm very pleased to transition out of. But yeah, that's me. And again, yeah, thanks everyone for their input. It's very interesting to hear everybody's stories and comments as well. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us again, Nicole.
Sure.
Kim Shrout.
Hey guys, like Michelle, I started as a lifeguard, but it was 36 years ago. Then I went to manager, and now I'm on the board of the swim club. But I started in service about 22 years ago. I've worked with Delaware Valley Pool Supply, and I worked with them for a while, and then I went and did teaching for a while, but still worked in the summers at the swim club. And then I worked for Anthony and Sylvan as a service tech as well, for about 5 years. And then now I'm back with Delaware Valley Pool Supply. So it definitely makes a difference, the boss and the support that they give you. Because my experiences at Delaware Valley are much better than at Anthony and Sylvan. You know, when the boss thinks that you can do it, it makes it a lot easier. So
Yeah, the empowerment for sure. Lisa,
Yeah.
I just realized that we skipped you. Do you want to give a little background about your position and what you do?
Sure, why not? I'm Lisa. As I said earlier, I'm the secretary for the Penn Jersey Pool and Spa Association. And during the day, I am the assistant sales center manager for the Superior Pool Products location in Blackwood, New Jersey. I've done all kinds of different things in this business. I started as a lifeguard when I was 15. I was a service technician. I built pools for Anthony Sylvan. And I've landed where I'm at today. So, yeah, I've seen all the different sides, and I love this business and the people in it. And I'm fortunate enough to have some very good bosses and very good leaders to deal with at this point in my career. And I'm very happy for that.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, Pat says cheers to that. Mary Beth Harler, are you on?
Yes, I am. And I, first of all, I want to thank Michelle for forwarding the invitation. I am a bit of a fish out of water in this conversation, but frankly have learned so much by listening to the stories. I am not associated with the pool industry. As Michelle noted, I'm a physician scientist. I'm actually a surgeon by training. And for the past several years, I have basically been leading drug development teams at Bristol Myers Squibb, which is based in Princeton. But setting all of that aside, I'm absolutely struck by the number of common themes that frankly go beyond industry. I think somebody else mentioned that. The themes around the balance of women and men and working in a male dominated field. I understand that. Again, I trained as a surgeon, which is a heavily male oriented field. But, the characteristics that have been highlighted here, frankly, those those shout out success, I would argue, independent of the industry. So I want to thank you for including me. I've learned a lot, and I wish you much success with this endeavor.
Thank you. Nadine. We have a Nadine Galaxy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Nadine Toomey. Galaxy is actually my phone. But I work for Patty at Grits Pools. I haven't been there for long. It's been less than a year. I'm learning a lot of different aspects of the pool business. I too, as a woman, have always worked in male dominant fields, construction, landscaping, and now pools. And I love it. I love working for these guys. They're wonderful. And I'm just really excited for this upcoming season. And I just am thankful for being on the call because I love talking to other women that are empowered and also having that source, if there's someone else that we would need to reach out to just for some talking, some tips, understanding. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Nadine. Nadine, do you have any questions for Donna while you're on?
I do not, but I can feel you for saying that you grew up on a tomato farm in Arkansas. I have family in Arkansas. So kudos for, being where you are and doing what you do today.
Thank you. Roseanne. Okay. Okay.
She may be having a little bit of trouble with her phone, so you can skip it off to my other aunt, Suzanne.
Oh, SZA, Suzanne.
So I'm the proud aunt of Michelle, and I basically work in a half woman, half male industry, but my background is print production, so manufacturing and male oriented. But I work in a benefits communications, which is basically a woman-oriented field. And I'm part of a larger organization. And I must say, I do not have the same issues with, I feel like women are treated equally. So it's interesting to hear what you're saying. I feel very lucky to be treated the way I'm treated and be in the industry I'm in. And, as far as printing is concerned, when I first started 25 years ago, it was very male dominated. Now there's more women that are doing what I do. And we're treated as equals. And so I think that all barriers can be broken in every industry. Eventually it will happen. And I just think everything that you said is something that you have to believe in yourself. And people will look at you as an individual, not as a woman, a male. And just keep going for it.
Thank you.
In fact, the company that I'm working for right now is headed by 2 women. So, the division is headed by 2 women. So,
thank you. Before we close off, Sam has a question for Donna.
Please excuse me, I started eating dinner. So Donna, I know a lot of what we're talking about on here is about the pool business, and obviously no one can deny that that's very male dominated, but in the grand scheme of big business on your level, do you feel that it is still mostly men, or throughout your career kind of being in the C-suite and being on the executive level, would you say that business is becoming more 50-50? Do you think that's in the next 5-10 years, or do you think that we're still a fairly good way off before that's reality for us?
I think if you look at the statistics out there, the lady that was on Mary Beth, she talked about surgeons being men, but if you look at now, some of the things that are happening in law schools and medical schools, they're now over that percentage. There's more women graduating from some of those, and I think that is good to see. However, I think from a corporate structure, it's still very hard. And there was a recent situation where the CEO of Chase said some things that were taken as incredibly controversial about who they could have at their C-suite. And he talked about people being qualified. But really, if you look back at it, some of the time is women haven't had that head start to really be in the industry and have the experience sometimes to be in that C-suite. So some of us got started a long time ago to do that. And I think as we go forward, as you said with your daughter, she's going to have that opportunity. And I look at it now, many people certainly didn't have the opportunity to be where I am now. But I think if you look at it overall and you just look at the statistics, men are still way outnumber women at that C-suite. And I do think it will change, but I think it changes with the people that are young enough right now to start growing on that path. And you're going to have the chance to be at that even 50-50 level where right now many people didn't get it.
Do you think that, so I read Sheryl Sandberg's book a few years ago. You guys haven't read it. It's called Lean In, and she talks about how, I really took a lot to this because I think it's easy to listen to statistics and say, oh, there's so many men in these positions, but she says, why is this? Do you think that a lot of women back out before they get to that point because they feel the pressures to, raise their families or be around more? I know it's something that is like very hot topic for me right now, is struggling with, allowing my husband to be 50% of the parent force. And, there's this mom guilt of, hey, I have to do what I have to do because that's what makes me happy and that's what makes me the best parent for my mom. But I do know a lot of women that feel like, hey, I'm gonna stunt my career and sink myself into motherhood. And then by the time they're ready to get back in, it's like, now I've been out of the workforce for so long. Do you think that trend is changing, or can you speak to some of what that was like from your perspective?
I think that is still a struggle. Let's face it, so far we're still the ones having the babies. So we're not changing that part of the genetics. But I think I was very fortunate, and you've heard me say this, Sam, to have a husband who actually was willing to stay home with our child and be there all that time, especially when I was gone sometimes 2 or 3 weeks at a time overseas for travel. He was also willing to pick up and relocate multiple times. So I do see that. And the MIT class would tell you, I say to many of them, if you're going to come out of this thing and follow a boyfriend or a girlfriend somewhere else and not be willing to relocate, you're going to struggle sometimes. So I think that's still, I think we still have a long way to go. But you know what, as you said, that's okay. It's a choice. And now people have that choice where in the past, maybe they didn't.
Yeah, and this is Mary Beth. I would actually like to jump in on one of the comments that Donna made, particularly around the C-suite. Right, and again, I come from a very different environment, but corporate, right? About I don't know, somewhere between 35 and 40,000 people. Clearly, we are making inroads in terms of the C-suite at the corporate level, but we would be kidding ourselves if we were to describe it as an even playing field, right? I think the core values that were talked about here tonight, in the pool arena, apply across the board. Again, coming back to integrity, hard work, leadership, right? For those of you who are ambitious, pay attention to the development of your leadership behaviors and your leadership capabilities. Those things cut across, right? And again, I would argue that is independent of what industry you come from, right? Because I'm feeling very connected to many of you, even though we come from very different places, because the underlying themes are quite similar. And I think as long as we continue to grow and bring our male colleagues with us, they have to be part of the journey. That C-suite situation, I agree with Donna, right? In a few more years, it's going to be a different situation. Corporate suite, yes. Sorry.
Thanks, everybody. Does anybody have anything else? Pat?
Thank you. I thought you'd never get to me. Just kidding. As we're going through all of this and I'm taking notes and a lot of great information, and I'm trying to build off of it for any future sessions that you do or we do. And I find all of us come from a different background and see it at a different way. And sometimes, to paraphrase Pogo, if you remember that cartoon from years ago, we have met the enemy and it is us. And I think a lot of times it is us as women that I'm trying to find the right word, challenge ourselves too much and overthink things because we question ourselves if we're capable of doing something. And I've always used the name of Pat in my business cards and everything, because obviously they don't know who you are until you get through the door. And I've worked in a lot of male dominated industries, from the oil industry to car manufacturers and whatnot, as a business consultant. So obviously I walk through the door, they know right away, hey, she's not a man. But I've always had to prove myself twice as much. And I think we all said this at some time, but I see the different generations here. And some of us are still thinking that we can't have it all. And I was fortunate to have a husband that allowed me to do what I could do, because I made a lot more money than he did. So that was his like, sure, you want to go somewhere, go right ahead. But some of us, want to be home, want to be with our family more, and male or female, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just find it interesting to hear different levels of experience here. I won't use the word age, but experience where we've all fought for something at a different spot in time, whether you're at a high executive level. We all had to pay our dues and work our way up. Our parents didn't own the business. And somebody had asked about the percentages of male versus female in the industry. And I started this platform for women in leadership a few years back because I noticed there were a lot more fathers and daughters than fathers and sons in the industry. So I used that as my hook to start, this kind of programming that we've been offering. So I really love to hear your stories and any commentary that you have to send to us, or if Lisa or Sarah can cull some comments from here. It'll give us something to build on for next time and go around. And I really appreciate everybody's stories, because they're very interesting. We all have something to add and gain, and hopefully, learn from it and all too. So I thank you very much for letting me participate and meeting all of you. And where can I get an application to join Pool Corp? Just saying. No, Amy, don't tell anybody I said that. No. Thank you all. Good night.
Can I say something to Sam's comment about being a mother and working? That was the reason I couldn't move to Covington when I worked for Pool Corp, was I was going to lose custody of my kids. And I made that choice, and it was a very difficult choice to make. But I also traveled a lot, even though I couldn't move. I would leave on Sunday and get home on Friday. Saturday morning. And I still have, even with all that traveling with my kids growing up, I still have a very good relationship with my kids. As Donna said, her daughter got used to, I'm sorry, I think she said child, got used to traveling, moving all the time. Kids adapt very well. And, I've traveled for 21 years and my youngest is 23. So you can still maintain a relationship with your kids and do your job.
Thanks, Rebecca. Lisa, do you have anything you want to say?
I wanted to just really thank you again for Donna for being here. I mean, these events are so much better in person. It's like, it's so hard to do these events virtually because it's like when you see somebody face to face, it's so much easier to have like an open dialogue. At this, it's like, who's next? Who's next? It's a lot more difficult to manage something like this. So in person, can't wait. Hopefully we'll be there soon. But I can't thank you enough for being here, and everyone seems to have really enjoyed themselves, and there's just a great conversation tonight had by all, and I really appreciate you for leading that, Donna, and everybody for participating and the great questions and feedbacks, and for just the mail support. I mean, even that is just absolutely incredible. I mean, Jeff and Chris and Kevin from he's on here too. So I mean, just the mail support is just, it's awesome to see that. And awesome to have everybody on here just hearing and understanding and having an open dialogue, because I think an open dialogue is the best we can do. Everyone works better when everyone communicates.
For sure. So thank you, everybody. And thank you again, Donna, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for hosting and putting it all together. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the input. You've all been very inspiring tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Nice to meet
Thank
you all.
Thanks,
See you soon.
everyone.
Have a great year.
You too. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.